This is the Authentic Dating series brought to you by Ahmad and David,
where we explore what it takes to have a dating life you're excited about.
Hey guys, I'm David.
I'm Ahmad.
And this is the Authentic Dating series. Thank you for joining us today. Before we'll give you a little intro into our podcast and what it's about. If you're new and if you're a regular listener, then you just give a recap on what we talk shit about all day. So our podcast is about trying to help you, the listener, and showing you how to create a dating life that you can really love by being your authentic self in the way you're living and how you communicate with the people that you date. Because we feel that there's the kind of existing paradigm in the world that's like telling us all that to be great in our dating lives or to have dating lives we're excited about, we have to be a certain way, and that's often not the way we are. And inherently that's telling us that there's something wrong with us and that we need fixing. But our belief is, and our experience has been, that really naturally we all have all the kind of tools and abilities to have amazing dating lives and amazing love lives and connecting with people deeply, but we just kind of master them through layers of kind of other people's ideas and what they think we should and shouldn't be doing. So, Ahmad.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks. That was a good intro. Yeah. There's a lot of advice of people saying what we should do or shouldn't do based on their own experience, and their experience is not always what's right for us. And so what we've learned is, you know what, you really need to understand who you are, who I am, the differences, and actually embrace the differences, and through doing that, having a far more enriching life of our own individual experience. And that brings us to the topic of today's very special podcast with a very special topic, which is not something that we've done before, which is very off the dating.
It's very off topic.
Yeah, very off the dating topic.
It's a very off dating topic, but really in the dating topic and how it affects.
Well, you know, if anyone ever noticed, probably haven't, because we don't use it very often, the cover art for our podcast, the main cover art, the one that says Authentic Dating Series on it, not just the one with our two faces and the title that they often see. They'll notice there's a lot of different stuff in there. There's not just about the women. There's only two women in that picture, and they're both behind David.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, is there? I don't know. The artist,
you put them there.
No, the artist did. I said put at least one chick behind me. And she didn't. Very foretelling. But there's a lot of different elements in the design cover, and you haven't seen it, and if you haven't already excitedly gone and checked it now since I've mentioned it, then go and do that now. I'll give you a moment. Good. So in that, and the reason for that is because we really believe that you've got to bring your whole life to it. You've got to, well, not just bring it, you've got to understand that your whole lifestyle impacts who you are, and therefore your dating. And if you don't understand who you are, nor if you don't have a lifestyle or a life, then your dating is going to be pretty bland. And, you know, for some of you out there, you might be like, whoa, like, who doesn't get this? I can't believe they need to talk about this. Well, I actually met someone recently who, when I was asking him about what they get up to, majority of it was work, hanging out with work friends, a bit of working out, and then dating. And it's like, oh, that's very linear. Like, you know, the work makes up a basically majority of most people's lives. But then who are you? Yeah. You know, unless you're the CEO or the founder of your company, it's like, who are you? And you know, if you're Elon Musk, then fantastic. Thanks, Elon, for listening. But that's fantastic. So having hobbies, we were talking about this earlier as well, having hobbies and sharing that, it's really important. And then one of the things that Dave and I have both encountered is a Peruvian medicine called Ayahuasca.
Which is, I guess it's also classed as a psychedelic drug as well, but we took it in a medicine context.
Well, I mean, whether you regard it as a psychedelic drug or not, whether you took it in a medicine context or not, it's still considered a psychedelic drug. Yeah. But it's basically, for those of you who don't know, and even for those who do know to some degree, what ayahuasca is actually very natural. It's two vines, from what I understand, two different locations in the jungle, in the Peruvian jungle, that somehow, by the powers of coincidence, somehow someone put these into a pot, they boil them down, and out of all the plants in the jungle. And what they learnt was that by doing that, they could really pull out of the plants this compound called DMT, which I can't remember the long name for it.
It's a very long name.
Yeah.
It's like the LSD.
I'm sure it begins with like di and ends in tryptophan or something.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. So it's I think it was a vine and a plant, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
I know they mix them together and they boil them, and it's been around since the time of the Inca, as far as I know. And it's ayahuasca actually stands for rope of death, if I remember rightly. Because it's to view that, it's the death of your ego. It can really kill that off. But yeah, it's an experience that we've done together on a couple of occasions, and we've done separately in our own places. And it's had quite a profound impact on our lives. Well, mine personally, I can only talk for myself.
Yeah.
As an experience, and then the things I've seen and experienced, and also really felt deeply, and I've felt deeply since in many cases. So we're going to get into that. But before we do that, I just want to thank our listeners. Actually, thank you for listening. And thanks for sharing. Like, we're still getting some really great feedback from people about episodes they've listened to, things they love and like, and just keep sharing it with us, with your friends and your co-workers and colleagues and stuff.
Yeah,
just
really,
do it.
Just share it.
Just share it. Yeah,
Just
don't
share
be
it,
ashamed.
yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's because dating isn't something that comes naturally to people. I don't feel like it came naturally to me, and I know for you it didn't come naturally to you. So the only way to kind of learn something is by learning and listening and experiencing and so forth. So thank you for all that, all the wonderful messages. And we had a listener that saw us at Bring Your Own Wingman a few days back, event, like, hello, we had a really great time talking. The time really flew really quickly, and we talked about all things dating and sex and experience and life and
Yeah, that was really cool.
energies.
Yeah. Masculine and feminine energies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a tough crowd. Yeah,
That was a great crowd. They were very interactive.
Yeah, but tough. No, just in a sense, they asked some really good questions. I really enjoyed it. But when I say tough, I just mean like it wasn't the everyday questions in respect of dating. It was some really well thought out and experiential questions. They really wanted to know certain things about dating. It wasn't just like simple kind of like, where do I take someone on a date?
Yeah.
It's actually, and that's the great thing about this event. And if you haven't heard about this sort of event, check out, was it episode 29?
9.
Yeah, 29.
29.
With special guest Asa Bar from Tailored Matched.
Yeah.
She's doing some really cool stuff. So check that episode out, have a listen, and you'll learn more about it, because she's really trying to help rid the world of shame around sex.
Yeah, which is a beautiful mission and message.
Yeah, because a lot of people are harboring that. And so everyone there came under that theme, and we got a lot of cool questions. And there was a really cool exercise they were doing at the end, where they were given certain cards, conversational starters, and starting conversations which were more intimate than they were used to. Yeah, asking people like what they like in bed and stuff. So please do check out that episode. You'll find it very interesting. It's
cool. So we'll get into it.
Yeah, man.
Let's do it. We are. Where are we going to start? Where do you want to start?
Well, this episode's a bit different. Like, we're not doing like the 5 things you need to know or anything like that. It's more expressing. For me, what it's about is expressing an understanding of the importance of self-awareness and
self-discovery.
And self-discovery. Yeah, like taking the time, however you do it, to understand yourself better and the impact that has on not just dating, but your life in general. Yeah. And so what we're going to talk about today is what we discovered by doing ayahuasca. And I think before we do that, it's important that we mention that, we're not advising anyone here to go and do ayahuasca. No. It's actually, because even for myself, it's not something that I do currently. It's something that I can't remember when the last time.
The last time I did was like last year, October.
Okay. Yeah. And for me, it's been a good couple of years now since I've done it. I don't necessarily feel like I want to go and do it again, but point being is it's something that we've done.
Yeah.
And we've got some great experiences to share. And it's just really like, I literally say this to people. It's like, it's not for everyone, but it's for those who feel it resonates and it's true for them and whatever, right?
And they feel cool to do so.
Yeah, so we're just going to talk about what we got and some of the experiences. It should be pretty interesting and some of it pretty wild in terms of the visions and whatnot. I think Dave's got some stuff he wants to share. I never get the visions, that's the thing. I never got I was like jealous because I never got like really cool dragons and shit flying around. But I think like, so let's get to it. Like, so for me, the first thing is, I remember like the first time I ever did ayahuasca. someone said to me that you can go and you can ask any question. You can ask anything you want. And I was like, no fucking way. Like, never in my life have ever come across something that gives you all the answers. Like, not any particular person in the world can give you the answer to everything. Like, sure, people have beliefs and ideas and ideals, but beliefs are not fact, and not like, hard fact. And you can hear that on the mic because
we've accidentally hit the mic so many times.
Yeah, and you can't edit that shit out. So
Especially if someone talks over it.
So yeah, that was me knocking on the table. So yeah, so the hard facts of life. So the thing is, I was like, wow, like that, what a fucking wild thing to do, to be able to ask any question that I want. And so naturally, the question that I wanted to ask was, what are we all doing here? Like, what is life about? What is happening here? And so on my first ever experience, I feel like I got like a life 101. And what I saw was that what life's about is it's about experience. It is about like us experiencing and following our curiosities and our not desires in the simplest form, but literally being like on the planet.
Like your true heart's desires, not just like your superficial egoic desires.
Yeah, I mean, ego may not make sense in that particular word, but in terms of just like not just like a basic, I need to eat, I need to sleep,
I want to eat more sweets.
Yeah, not like that. Nothing debased or anything like that, but more rather that we are here to experience life. And oddly, as I realize now, because I still have that vision that I saw in my mind at the time, and what I saw was essentially people, like the earth was round, and it is round, guys. So the earth was round, and it's very specific. Ayahuasca told me it was round, but it was just like there was just nature around, and there wasn't, in the image, there wasn't any of this like buildings and society and stuff. And all I took was, oh right, like we're supposed to be here free to just experience, and that's just how it is. Like, so whatever you're actually experiencing is part of the experience.
Yeah.
And that was so that was the like a basic 101 of it, and then from there I started to understand how where I fit into the world in respect of like, well, what do I enjoy doing? What do I like? What drives me? What inspires me? And also feeling very free from expectation, because I really saw how, from my ayahuasca experiences, how frustrated we are as people, as humans, as a species, by like the need to control, and not just the need for us to control our environment, but also the control that is imposed upon us,
and for us, our need to control other people as well.
Yeah, like something really simple that occurred to me after doing ayahuasca was I was driving. And not directly after ayahuasca, like some time afterwards. But
take your keys away.
Yeah, I was driving. I was back in London, and I was driving, and I was coming up to a stoplight, a traffic light, and it was green. And I noticed that there was a very minute frustration, a concern, a worry that the light was going to turn red. And it just, what occurred to me in this awareness, like in this aware state, was that how often we have that in life, whether it's very small, like maybe you're taking the underground or you're in the tube, and the person in front of you is just taking 10 seconds longer than you expect to go through the barriers, and it's like, oh no, like, oh, it's fucking up my day.
It's not even 10 seconds, it could be like 3 seconds too long.
Oh, he's using, because the thing is, the reason I use that as an example is I'm always using the one on my phone, and I have to do the face thing on the phone.
Oh god, you're one of those guys. I hate those people. It takes ages,
and I'm just like, whatever it is. But I know people have a frustration because I can feel it on my back. Yeah, so that's one of the key things. What about you, Dave? What was one of the key things?
I think like one of the first things I went in with a lot of questions. I remember I did mine in Peru, just outside of Cusco. I'd been recommended a place by a few friends, or some kind of real coincidental shit happened. Like there was a couple I knew who I'd asked them where they said they did it, and then I was like, cool, I'll look around at that. And then I met a guy randomly one night through some friends, and he'd been to the same place to do his ayahuasca kind of journey, and I thought, boom, that's the place for me, that I'm going there, that's done. So I went there, and I came in with a lot of questions around my own life. I'd been kind of traveling for a year at this point, and just broke up with my then girlfriend, and was still really hurting from that, actually, like really still hurting and feeling a bit lost and not sure what to do. And I went in there kind of feeling like asking questions about my life, my career, my kind of what I should do about my relationship, whether I should, try to get back into that or not. But I left with, especially on the first couple of ceremonies, and for those who don't know, sorry, we haven't really gone into the detail of how it works, is that it's basically a drink. You drink it, and then you sit in a kind of darkened room. And if you've kind of done the proper ayahuasca experience, you have a shaman. And I was there with two shaman. There's a female shaman and a male shaman. And in the room was like a translator and a helper and a nurse to make sure everything went fine. And the shaman, like, they have this kind of mapacho, isn't it? The smoke. They have like, it's like a proper ceremony. It's probably ceremonial.
You'll probably lose people in detail if you go too much into the detail, but yeah, carry on.
Yeah, I remember
Mapacho cigarettes.
Yeah, I remember like drinking it and, you know, having a reaction to that drinking of that. There was a taste in my mouth.
It's a very earthy. Is it bitter? It's not bitter. It's like
mine was a bit gritty the first time.
Earthy, gritty. It's mixed with cacao. Like,
is there cacao in there?
Yeah, well, not always, but like I know they do mix it with cacao. But and cacao without, we're not talking like chocolate with sugar. It's cacao bitter, and it's not necessarily a pleasant drink.
I didn't enjoy it very much.
It's not hot cocoa.
No, it's not hot cocoa. And then I kind of remember sitting back and
it is warm though, right? A little bit warm.
Sometimes it's warm. I think I can't remember if it was warm the first time.
Nothing like a cold cup of ayahuasca. Refreshing.
And after that, you know, I remember just sitting there. But what kind of came out of the ceremony as a whole was like this feeling that I was emotionally blocked. I wasn't allowing my emotional range to really be felt.
Yeah.
Because I had this idea that I had to be kind of strong for everybody, and I had to be, and if I was like emotionally unstable or emotional, then people wouldn't really know what to do. And I really got like Mother Ayahuasca really came to me and told me, it's just like, actually, it's for me to just.
Sorry, what? Mother who?
Mother Ayahuasca.
Who's that?
The voice in your head. That's what I call it.
No, well, sorry, just to pick David up on that. So some people refer to ayahuasca as Mother Ayahuasca because she comes, or the actual vine comes from the earth. Hence and earth is referred to as she. So as Mother Ayahuasca, just in case other people start thinking we're some sort of cult going on here.
It was a cult, man. I thought I joined the cult. I got newsletters every week. And I just got that there's this emotional block, and for me to just like say and do the things I really want, actually, and just express my emotion, whether it's happiness and sadness. And I think that's probably, you know, when it comes to my dating life, that's been the biggest change, I think, is that just full expression of what I'm feeling, especially what I'm feeling, like whether it's joy or sadness. And that's really kind of what I really took out of my kind of first few ceremonies.
Nice. Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, and absolutely. Like, so one of the things to point out of ayahuasca that I've always felt, because I've done a few ceremonies too, and with it like whatever is your concern or whatever's like the major kind of issue on your plate, like I find ayahuasca goes right there. Yeah. Like whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so I had a ceremony once, and it was like my mum passed away in 2012, and Dave knows, but so it was like 2016 it must have been, and it was like they play live music, and that's really cool, and like you have an experience because of the music. And there was a point where the drums stopped and the room was silent, and I just started crying. Wow. Yeah, just like floods of tears, and I was thinking about my mum. And like I said, it was like 4 years after the event, and I was surprised at the time, and I was surprised afterwards, because I didn't realize I was holding on to any particular emotions in that respect. But there it was, and it was just flooding out of me, and I really felt lighter and freer after that. And so it gave me a deeper sense of understanding for the humanness in me and the humanist part of me. And after that, I've always just thought to myself, you know what? I'm not going to walk around and assume that I'm complete with something, or that I'm done with something, or whatever, or any particular thing, because I just don't know.
Yeah.
And actually, so a lot of it, like what you've said and what I got as well, a lot of what we're trying to convey here is like a general sense of like calm and acceptance for the way things are, less control and more acceptance and surrendering to the way things are. I
feel like for me, what it's really given me, and I think I've been on at least 3 retreats now, it's quite an emotionally cleansing exercise. I find, like, I guess some people probably get this through therapy and, like, you know, but this is, I find it's just like a lot quicker than talking, because you're dealing with things that you won't necessarily be able to kind of realize through your own thinking.
I've read that, and I don't have the facts to hand or anything, but I've read that apparently they're using this in the prisons in Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
doesn't surprise me.
And things like that. Yeah. And a particular shaman himself who we worked with before was saying how, like, 1 cup of ayahuasca was like 10 therapists or something like that. Like, just by the fact that you, like what I just mentioned, it goes straight to there's no one you need to, like, who needs to get to know you first or whatever, and then slowly build a relationship and then work their way down into the issue. No, it's just like straight there. And the thing about ayahuasca that we can't actually describe is the personal experience that any one particular person will have. Like, David's experience is guaranteed to be nothing like my experience, and same, and vice versa. It's like the best way to describe it is your own personal movie.
Yeah.
And only you know all the parts because it's in your head.
Yeah, it's really, like, even we've done ceremonies together, right? And been in the same room in the ceremony, and even then it's like it's a very personal experience. It is just like life, right?
Yeah.
That it's a very personal
absolutely.
experience.
Absolutely.
And in the same way that, and I was saying this to someone else recently, that 2 people can be in the same relationship and have 2 different experiences of that relationship. Just purely because of their own perspective. And I think with ayahuasca, it's very much the same. Is you have a very, very personal experience, and you might talk to, like, I've talked to people and they've been like, oh man, I see these crazy visuals, and I've been to the center of the universe, and blah blah blah. And I just get that that's their experience. And a lot of people always want to, I think we are in this world now where it's like, if you're going to do something new, you want to find someone that's done it, read everything about it, and speak to people that have done it before.
Oh yeah. Like, we had that friend of yours who was asking loads of questions, and he was just, I'm just asking, but he was really asking. Really asking.
And people often ask, they were like, oh, what did you get? What did you see? What happened? And I happily share, but I also always remember to tell them is like, what happened to me won't happen to you.
Yeah.
It won't be the same for you.
Yeah.
It's not like, say, other drugs, which I think are quite uniform in terms of their experience for people. You know, like if you smoke weed, for instance, like that feeling of being high is a lot the same for most people. But with ayahuasca, I think it's because of how it deals with the chemistry of the brain.
You, and I'm talking to you, the listener, because of you and your brain and your makeup. So I was reading a book about how we learn and these things recently, quiet leadership. And one of the things it pointed out is, I think the author himself was saying, like, him and his wife, they both bought, like, let's say they both bought Mac computers, and they were working, and for over 4 years they were using their Mac computers. One day he used his wife's one, and he couldn't make sense of what she'd done with, like, the file structuring.
Okay.
And he was equating that to the brain, because it's like we both have brains, but the way in which we think and we act wires them differently.
Yeah. So
it's just like a computer that you're using. Like, you know, if I was to start trying to find stuff on your computer, it probably wouldn't be anything like mine, because we would structure things in a different way. So it's fascinating, and this is why I think ayahuasca is that way as well, because everyone's got a different mind and thinking about things in a completely different way.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think one of the things that's kind of emotionally come out of me is, I remember when we were we did a ceremony together, and we were in Holland, and I remember, like, you know, there was this moment, I think I'd had my 2 cups, and I was and again, like, a voice always comes to me and just talks to me about whatever I'm thinking or whatever, right? And it was like, touch the floor. And I was like, why do I touch the floor? And this voice going, no, touch the floor. And I touched the floor, and it was just like vibrating completely, like really vibrating. I could really feel the vibration of the floor. And there wasn't anyone jumping up and down, anything like that. Everyone was just lying down.
No bass music.
There was no speakers in the floor or anything, but the floor was really vibrating. And the voice said to me again, it's like, everything, you can feel it. You can feel the love in the ground. Everything is there. You can feel what other people are feeling from a distance if you just tune into what's there in the ground. And it was a really profound experience, because I remember then I really got this sense that there was a woman towards the back of the room that was really upset, right? And at this point, the room was completely dark, and I couldn't really hear anybody. And it was only in the next morning, when we kind of share your experience from the night, that I realized when she spoke about her experience was actually she was really upset. Some of the stuff she was dealing with were very difficult from her childhood. And I was sitting there like, how would I know that? You know, there's no way I would have known that in any kind of logical way to work that out in those moments. So I've had some really profound experiences around just like feeling the ground a lot, actually, and just getting that, everything is love. All matter is love. That's a message I've got a lot before, is like, everything is love. All matter. All matter that comes together is because there's a love that brings it together.
That's giving me a t-shirt idea.
Yeah. All matter is love.
Something like that. I won't say it on.
Sell it to scientists.
I won't say it on the mic. Someone else steal it.
Oh yeah. Stealing ideas. So yeah. So yeah, it's just been for me, it's been a really profound and life-changing experience.
Yeah, for me, I feel like one of the main things that I took away from my experience with ayahuasca is really about letting go and learning to enjoy the general ride of life. There was always a big expectation, and I feel also, I mean, it's not just my expectation, but just like growing up in the world in general. It doesn't matter where you grow up, wherever you grow up in the world, you will have society's expectations.
Yeah.
And whatever that might be, even as something as simple as going to school, which I think is, a really good structure. Like it really is. But then everything about it that becomes the way of life, that you like, oh, you have to do this, you go and get a job, and you should work a certain way. And I realized actually at Arsa's event, the woman who runs Tailored Match, how, because we mentioned, I've spoken to you about this before, David, and it's like, oh, we live in this world where we're on Instagram and we've got all these different accounts that we're following that, that we're kind of connected to, and so we're in the same sphere. Like, they're talking about dating, we're talking about dating, different things about it. But that's not reality. It's not like what everyone's thinking. And realizing that, actually in the world, not everyone is reading the same books or thinking the same, or, it's actually a majority of the world is just doing their thing. So it doesn't matter where you grow up, there will be certain expectations, but that doesn't mean that you have to do it that way. And I really feel that actually a lot of us are here to have an individual experience.
And it's key to this in that. It's like, because we talked about the event the other night, it was like, people have these expectations of you, and that's what they are. Those people's expectations. They're not your obligations.
Yeah.
That's a great t-shirt. Expectations are not your obligations.
Yeah.
Other people, your parents may have expectations of you, or even desires and wants for how you want to be, but that's theirs. They own that. Not you. Don't own their expectations.
Yeah, and it's interesting how that comes to be, really. I mean, obviously we live through it ourselves and we have it ourselves, and we still find our ways to get out of it and be free and be independent. But we're intrinsically linked as well to everything that came before.
Yeah.
In terms of our parents and our ancestors, like, we came from a certain lineage, each of us. So here's an interesting fact, slightly off topic, but for anyone listening, this is an interesting thing. You are part of one of the longest surviving families of all time. Other families have died out.
Yeah.
And if you're here alive today listening to this podcast, and you're actually part of a family that has survived this long, and you are one of the surviving members, if not the only surviving member of that line, that's a fascinating thing that most people don't consider. So whenever, and this was told to me once when I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this and that, and they're like, this person was telling me this, was like, but you are one of the lastest and longest surviving members of one of the longest surviving members of family in the world. How could you not do X, Y, Z, whatever it is you think you can't do? And I was like, damn, I never thought of it that way, right? Like, all these people have survived just to get you here.
Really standing on the shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, like, just this freedom to live and experience and be present in the world, to actually, because the thing is, as much as we have expectations, one of the funny things about life is that when you stop trying to just constantly do more, get this, do that, and what's next, and let me check my phone, and let's, you know what I mean, like that kind of transit life, that I'm in transit, I gotta watch my phone, and okay, got this plane to catch, train to catch, but whatever. But constantly living that life, and you actually pay attention in the sense that you stop and you pay attention to your life, then everything is a lot calmer, slower, more enjoyable, and you find time for things that you enjoy, and you look out for things that you enjoy. You can actually feel in yourself. And so this is what I feel like my ayahuasca experiences started for me. I wouldn't say it was everything, but it was definitely a huge part, because there's other things that I've done since. that didn't involve like psychedelic drugs. One of them was breath work, which was thanks to you. You mentioned about, and in fact, I took your ticket. You weren't available to go that evening. It was a beautiful breath work class that I went to, and that really gave me another sense of like really being connected and on a higher vibrational energy from just breathing. From just breathing, which is really cool. I think one of the biggest things though would have to be how ayahuasca. Oh, the police are here. Damn.
No, fuck, you better go, guys.
The police are here. That'd be a lovely show, and they found us. We clearly shouldn't have mentioned this. They probably can't even hear. If you can't hear, there's police in the background. We'll be here until they break down the door. Yeah. There's no way we can run now. What I was about to say was around intuition, like feeling intuitive, feeling in tune with life and my choices and what I'm doing. In fact, this podcast all came out of this feeling more in tune with life.
What would you, for our listeners, like how would you describe intuition?
Intuition, that's a good question. How would I describe intuition to someone who may not have heard it before? So intuition is a sense of being connected to being connected to what you feel is really true for you to do, and having a good sense of knowing that that's what you want to do. So it can also be a sense of a right choice versus a wrong choice. And so people often talk about intuition and they say, oh, I felt like I shouldn't have gone this way, or there was something dangerous, or I felt like he was a nice person, or I felt, and that sense of feeling. And whereas intuition is more than just, oh, I'm happy or whatever. It's actually like a sense of knowing with a certain focus and attention on something. So to give a more concrete example would be feeling like doing a podcast is the right thing to do, or even tuning into and feeling what kind of podcast topic to do is the right way to go. And all of it, to be honest, really comes down to, or boils down to, what feels right for me, and to distinguish that from just going, oh, this feels right or whatever, is to say, well, again, this isn't, because we said it quite early on, this isn't just about following, oh, I want sugar, I feel like eating chocolate, or I feel, or I feel like watching Netflix all day, which can be I've never intuitively got that I should be watching Netflix all day. Oh, we're back. I just realized we're back on the Netflix bashing from the start. It's like the oral sex demon. Oh yes. What a great video that was. I don't know if we can give a link to the guys on the thing. There's just a funny video going around. So it's to be in tune and to feel like, this is the right thing beyond just bodily feeling and emotion, but rather from a sense of like, this is actually something I would really enjoy doing. And because look, when we first started the podcast, I remember Dave and I were here and we put it on and it was on Spotify, and we were like, oh shit, like now people are going to hear this stuff, and oh fuck, like what are they going to think? And is our family going to come and chase us down with pitchforks and shit for saying something they don't agree with? Oh man. Just like, oh no, did I say anything wrong or rude or bad, whatever, right? And here we are, like 31 episodes later. But the thing is, at the time we were just like, okay, this is not necessarily like frightening, scary, but it was like we were nervous about it. We were excited, we were nervous, and at the same time we knew that this was the right thing to do, because it was just like, well, this is obvious. It's obvious. It's like we enjoy talking. We have a lot of stuff that we've learned that we'd love to share, and people keep asking us fucking questions. So let's just put it on a podcast. No. The intuition is intuition works at so many levels. Like it's something, we've both spent a lot of time like using and just like getting what's true and what's right for us to do and wrong for us to do as well sometimes. And like even like just simple decisions sometimes. It's just like, last night I was out with a friend and we were like, what should we do? Where should we go and drink? And she was like, I don't want to decide. Why don't you decide? And I was like, okay. And at least she was just like, I just checked in my intuition. It was like, what should we go and do? And I got there's the bar up there. That's where we should go.
And it really was perfect, actually, because we went to this bar and sat there and the sun went down. It was all purple and beautiful. And I was like, okay, this
amazing.
is it was just perfect, right?
Spiritual shit really works.
Pick up Jay-Z.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I really resonate with what you said about intuition and the know. It's like an inner knowing.
Yeah.
About things that often you almost don't have a good reason for knowing them.
And the reason why I distinguish it from just like human feelings, when I say like fear and happiness and this and that, is because actually fear can muddy that feeling.
Yeah.
And so what ayahuasca and other experiences have helped me do is be free of like frustrations and worries and be more in tune, because I'm no longer like, oh no, I need to be like in control and this and that. So some very, you know, you were saying about how it helped you be like emotionally free, where it's like really removing that kind of lower level concern and being more, so you're kind of just like, oh yeah, more chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few things. Like I also, from my time in Ayahuasca, I really got this sense of like being honest is being of service to people. So I found it was a really interesting thing, because often we don't feel like we should tell the people the truth for whatever reasons it might hurt them or whatever, but actually that it's being truthful about yourself and to people is being of service and to them and honoring who they are as people, because like, and being true to yourself as well as, you know, something that we feel quite passionate about, especially around dating, is like, you know, be true to you instead of being, you know, just what I said at the beginning of the episode is like, don't try and be someone else. Just be you. You know, you don't have to be this other person. Yeah. That because you think that that's how you're going to be successful in life. Like, you can just be you. And it's something I've really recently realized. Like, I've just happened in the last kind of 6 months to meet some very successful people. Just, you know, whether I'm having dinner with them or having drinks with them, I've come to realize what's really interesting is that they're all very different people. There's not like, oh, they're all the same. They all drink the same Kool-Aid or they all wear the same clothes. They're all very different people in their own right, but yet they've, you know, driven themselves to a certain level of what I deem to be success.
Yeah. And so for me, like, the main thing and why we wanted to share this on the podcast was because exactly everything David just said there around being true to you. And actually, that's something that, you know, since day one, people have always been like, well, just be yourself. Like, why even do it? You know, like, you know, way before we even started this podcast, you know, when we were coaching and stuff, like, people were like, but why, people should just be themselves. Like, why would you even need to coach anyone in dating? Like, just, you know, as simple as that, just go be yourself. Yeah. And the thing is, kind of like what I just said about intuition, well, the same shit happens with just being yourself. is who are you? Like, who are you? And who are you really? Like, if you didn't have any like resistance or interference in your being, in your excitement and what you want to go for, if you don't have any concerns and worries, then how would you be? What would you be? And and so on dates, or even more, I feel not necessarily more importantly, but like importantly in a relationship, your ability to just be you and to be free and to feel free to express yourself is really important. So this whole journey that we've talked about, and we've used ayahuasca as a vehicle, there are many ways to spend time deepening and understanding yourself. David has previously done a 10-day Vipassana retreat, which is like a silent 10 days of pure silence. That's a really deep way to really get to know what's going on in your head.
Because you've got no other input apart from your own, really, and that really leaves you with yourself, like completely with yourself. And I know that's quite scary for a lot of people to be with themselves, actually, in this day and age. But
being with yourself must be very scary.
Like, it was really tiring at times, listening to my fucking voice in my head. But like I was saying, there's so many different ways to kind of deepening your understanding of yourself and finding out who you are. And it is some exploration. I really see it's something you said earlier in the episode is like life being experiences. And I've always seen life as kind of a string of experiences. And, you know, learning about yourself and finding out about yourself is about going out and experiencing what's out there in life and learning about what it is that you love and what you don't love, and moving through those instead of going, oh, I love this because that's what I meant to love, or I like these things because, oh, that's what I meant to like, and not actually experiencing them yourself.
Yeah. So that's the thing. That's the core message here so I'm actually looking for a post because I saw something recently today and I can't find it. It's not there in our saved. But it was along the lines of like, we're here to understand ourselves, we're here to understand ourselves, not to be understood. Yeah, so that's what it was. It was a post by Jim Carrey. If you don't know Jim Carrey, the famous actor, is now a guru.
He's basically the wokest man in the world right now.
Yeah. Or at least presenting himself to be.
Yeah, or his Instagram manager is.
Yeah. Whoever's running his social media right now is shit hot at the enlightenment game. So basically that. Yeah. So this whole thing of like deepening yourself, understanding yourself, and actually showing up in the world as yourself, like that's for me, the last word for me today really is like, we had this talk that we gave, or rather we were on a panel. It was just me, David and Asa at her event, and she'd kindly asked us to come down. And prior to the event, there was a whole heap of stuff happening. I'd just come back from France, in fact, and Chloe, my girlfriend's dog, was very, very sick, and we just had to take her to the vet prior to coming to the event. And
I'd been made redundant.
David had been made redundant. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and like a younger version of me, a former version of me would have been a bit more like frazzled by the whole thingy, rather than just being present in the moment. And in addition to that, I did check in with myself, and all I got was like, you know what, just be you, like just like whatever questions come up, whatever concerns I have, just be yourself, and don't do anything else. Don't try and answer all the questions, or don't try and put on don't try and put on a pretense or something else. Just be you. Like,
just I really got for me actually before was like, is just to talk from my own life.
Same, yeah.
Like just
my own experiences.
Yeah, like not to try and be like, guess what people need to hear, guess what people think they need, and just be like, oh well, my experience has shown me this. This is what's been
amazing. We literally had the same conclusion, and it was actually so free and easy. I think that's the first time I've done anything like that. At least for 6 months or plus. Like the last time was at another event where I did a brief stint, and there was more people on the stage and whatnot. But for me personally, I felt very relaxed, very chill. It was a good crowd, amazing crowd. In fact, a really well put together event. But it was really nice. It really felt connected and just gave some awesome answers. And
So I guess just like wrapping that all up, the episode is like what I feel like we've gone further into the remit than we were expecting. I think we kind of went over like our ayahuasca experiences and how that's impacted us emotionally, going into like intuition, and also just like the question of like, who are you,
Yeah.
And when it comes to ayahuasca, we talked about, there was a lot of stuff emotionally where I really feel like for both of us, it did a lot of kind of emotional heavy lifting of removing like layers that were blocking us from really feeling like emotion that were really there.
Well, I think, as for all humans, we all get stuck sometimes. And sometimes we don't recognize that we're stuck, and we think that's just the way it is.
Yeah. And
then eventually, I think one of the beautiful things about being human is you can come to realize that, oh no, it's not necessary. It's not necessary to be bitter or to be sad or to be. But actually, like for example, like even with my mum passing, there's a moment of understanding the joy and the happiness of the time that we spent, as opposed to grieving the loss. In comparison, and so that's the amazing thing. And so it just in general, I think it doesn't matter who you are, you're always going to have some sort of emotional freeness happening as part of ayahuasca or any other deepening exercise.
Letting that emotion kind of pass through you.
Yeah. So the cool thing is now is that David and I are putting together events. We're actually going to be putting together some meetups, in fact. Yeah. So you can find us now on meetup.com, and that is the tagline is very clever. I made that myself. It's called Meetup with the Authentic Dating Series. It's very good. And we're looking to do some regular meetups. So if any of you guys are in London, or if you are in London, come and check us out. You can check it up. We got an event happening on the 4th of August at 6 p.m. in the evening. The venues to be confirmed. But we're really excited to be meeting up with guys again face to face, sharing knowledge and also hearing questions and answering questions.
Yeah.
And just hearing what's going on. We're looking forward to just getting out there again.
And seeing how we can help people in their dating lives, in their emotional lives, in their whatever way we can kind of help with the words and the knowledge that we have.
And at the moment, this is just for men. So women, you're not invited.
Unfortunately.
Unless you pretend to be a man or something.
You can do that.
You can do that. It's fine.
I guess it's for men and all people that relate to themselves as men.
Yeah. Was the word associate as men? Yeah.
Yeah. If there's a calling for us to sit with a group of women and talk, and I think we'll do that, but we just get in contact with us enough and we'll do it basically.
More contact.
Yeah. And I guess, you can talk to us on other platforms like Instagram, where we are like heavily active and talking to lots of people.
Instagram is our best platform at the moment.
Yeah, our response speed is pretty snappy.
Plus, we love pictures and quotes and stuff, and we post a lot of those online. Both Dave and I are photographers. Yeah. We love it. So you'll find a lot of our best work on there. Facebook, not so much.
Yeah, Facebook we're not keen on.
Yeah,
but we do have a group on Facebook.
You can
find us, Authentic Dating Series, on there, as well as Instagram, Authentic Dating Series as well,
and Twitter.
And Twitter, yeah, Authentic Dating Series on Twitter. We're not as active on Twitter either as well.
Yeah, because Dave runs that. I see some of the comments on the Hootsuite. But yeah.
But no, so, get in contact with us, ask us questions, suggest topics.
Subscribe to our iTunes.
Yeah. Subscribe and
review it.
The reviews are really important for us because it means that the more reviews we get, the more people see our podcasts.
The more chance we become famous.
Yeah, we just want to be rich and famous and get validation.
Well, and money too.
Okay, money secondary after validation.
No.
I want to eat on the validation.
But really get it out there. We are planning to do more and more stuff. So yeah, I'm excited, and share the love. Don't be greedy. Share it around. And do send us questions. We love answering questions. In fact, we work best.
Well, yeah, we're really at our best when we have a question to deal with.
Yeah,
like really as guys as well. Like, because women seem to be really forthcoming with the questions, and
they're asking all the questions.
Like basically, like guys, we're really calling to you. It's like, what questions do you have around dating, about mental health, about kind of dealing with the struggles of day-to-day life, like. We've been through it. We're at a certain age now where we've been through a lot of things. I feel like I've lived probably 2 lives, and maybe another half on top.
Yeah.
So we're really here to help and be of service to people in what they're dealing with.
Yeah, cool. Get in touch. Our email address is hello@authenticdatingseries.com, or just message us on Instagram and we'll get back to you.
Great. Cool listeners, guys and girls. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Ciao.
Ciao.